Hey guys, Austin here, and in today's video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about hockey analytics, but just kind of a generalization of analytics. And I also want to talk about what I think the analytics community gets wrong and why there seems to be a divide with the eye test fans and the analytics fans. And there doesn't seem to be some kind of like middle ground. You see both sides go after each other all the time. And I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on that because my channel, as you guys know, those who've tuned in for a long time, this channel does focus a lot of analysis on the player and the teams as, you know, an analytical look at stuff. And the reason why I do that is one, I like analytics. Two, I like numbers. And three, I've had some educational background where it was kind of eye-opening. And the first thing to mention with my educational background in hockey analytics, it actually starts back in the year 2019. I took a online course through Sports Management Worldwide, and it was called Hockey, GM, and Scouting. Now, in this course, basically, you learned what it takes to be a scout for hockey teams, professional teams, amateur teams, junior teams, and you also learn what it takes to work in the front office. So, I was taught basically what the role of a general manager is, an assistant general manager, the day-to-day operations of a professional hockey team, and through that, every single week, once a week, through our studies, we got to speak with Mr. Harry Sinden of the Boston Bruins. Now, Harry Sinden, he spent over 28 years as general manager of the Bruins. He coached them to a Stanley Cup win in 1970, and right now I believe he still serves as like an advisor to the owner, and he is on the Hockey Hall of Fame selection committee. He's in his 90s now, Mr. Sinden, but through those studies in hockey, GM, and scouting, the big thing with Mr. Sinden was he was very pro-analytics, and back in 2019, I was very anti-analytics. So every week when Mr. Sinden would join us on Zoom calls, he would basically just give his insight, talk to us about his experience, what it's like to run a team, what it was like with the Bruins, and then he would field questions from us. And the most eye-opening thing for me when it comes to hockey analytics is in 2019, I asked Mr. Sinden outright, do you like hockey analytics and do you use them on a day-to-day basis with the Boston Bruins? And his answer was basically, yes, we use analytics, and yes, it's an important tool. Now, I'm focusing on the word tool here. He said the word tool because it's not something that you should be using only in player and team evaluation. There are so many other variables in hockey that numbers and on ice events don't quantify. And also, the public data that we have access to is much different than the private data that NHL teams pay to either have their own analytics departments or they pay other outfits to get that information from as well. And so the reason why I was so against analytics back in 2019, and even before that, when the analytics movement started happening in the early 2010s, was I found a lot of people in the analytics community had a bit of an ego to them. And I'm not saying everyone, but that's just what it was perceived to me. I felt like if you were to try and engage with someone who was speaking analytic terms, they would almost sound condescending when trying to tell you whether they thought you were wrong or not, instead of engaging in a hockey discussion. You know, I would be like, hey, you know, just as an example, this is just a general example. I would put out a tweet to someone who posts some analytics about an Oilers game, and I'd be like, hey, like, but, you know, can you quantify that stick that broke in the second period, or the officials making a bad call at a bad time? And they basically tell me, we don't care about that. We look at the even strength 5-on-5, blah, blah, blah. If you don't believe in what I'm putting out, then that's like your problem. And I had a run in with a few analytics people, some prominent ones, and I'm not going to name names here, that really turned me away from analytics. But when a guy like Mr. Harry Sinden, who at the time was in his 80s and had been a GM for 28 years and had been with the Bruins for a long time, a very historic franchise, Harry Sinden is an old school hockey mind, in my opinion. He's, when you have one of those like the Don Cherry generation, right? That's kind of what I call them, like the old school. I just never expected him, of all people, to be like, yes, analytics are actually very important, especially advanced analytics. So that's one main point. Now, number two, after I took that GM and scouting course, I started to self-reflect and I was like, okay, well, how do I learn more about this? Well, it turns out a couple years later, Sports Management Worldwide, they started offering a course called Hockey Analytics. And that one, again, there was that one was taught by Claire Cornish was in it, and Mike Oak, who's is the GM of the, oh, give me 1 second, I have to Google it now. Oh God, I feel so bad. I feel so bad. Peterborough Pete's. I was gonna say Peterborough Pete's, and I didn't want to get it wrong. So he is the GM of the Peterborough Pete's. And he was also part of the GM and scouting course too. So I was like, you know what? I'm familiar with Mike Oak. I've spoken to him numerous times. He taught me in there. I'm going to take this hockey analytics course. And Claire Cornish, former junior player, former NHLer as well. I think Claire Cornish got some time in the NHL. Let me just double check. It's been a while since I've taken these. So now Claire Cornish is currently with the Peterborough Pete's. And I'm just quickly Googling. No, so he was junior. He didn't play NHL. But he does have professional hockey experience, and he's a big numbers guy. So when I took that course, that basically was a stronger breakdown of what hockey analytics are, why they are seen as important in the community with teams, and I was given more information and more context on how to use analytics to analyze teams or players. There were books that we were given to read. There's books that I've bought on my own. I have some on my desk here. I have Stat Shot by Rob Volman, which I highly recommend. They have like a fan's guide to hockey analytics. He did one of those. And then there's like the ultimate guide to hockey analytics. That one's a bit more in depth with the numbers. And then there is another one called Sports Analytics, a guide for coaches, managers, and other decision makers. If you guys want, I can actually just show you this book. So there's this, oh God, my webcam does not want to show that. What on earth is going on? 1 second here. I'm just going to change up my webcam here. So Sports Analytics, a guide for coaches, managers, and other decision makers. That's another book that I read. And if you guys want, I can also show you. I should have had all this prepared. My apologies. So Hockeyonomics, what the stats really reveal. That's a good book if you just want to start getting into hockey analytics, or if you want to start learning more. And then, of course, the big one here is Stat Shot from Rob Volman, Ultimate Guide to Hockey Analytics. Now, this is not an advertisement for any of these things. It's not an advertisement for the books. It's not an advertisement for Sports Management Worldwide, but it's something that I wanted to talk about because hockey analytics are important. And when I was looking at the demographics of the people that watch my videos, the demographic is 35 and older. And a lot of fans that I meet, I don't want to say like older fans, but the over 35 group is usually not as in tune or as willing to engage with analytics as the younger generations. So this is why I wanted to put out this video. It's kind of for the older crowd that watches, that wants a better idea of why I would use analytics and why analytics are important. And I guess my main point here is you're going to come across people in the analytics community that do not engage in good faith, or they don't engage in a way that allows you to understand what they're talking about. Because people in the analytics community, if someone tells me, just as an example, someone comes up to me and they're like, man, it sucks the Oilers lost last night. They had an expected goals for 58%. I go, yeah, that's unfortunate. Man, the Oilers played really well. And, you know, if they keep playing like that, they're going to find some wins here. But if you tell someone that isn't quite in tune with analytics, like if I were to tell someone in my like dad's generation, like, man, the Oilers played good last night. They had a 58 expected goals for percentage. They're going to look at me and be like, what does that mean? And then you have to break that down a little further. And then, you know, so basically what I'm trying to say is the most important part of hockey analytics is being able to take the information and the numbers and translate that information to people who might not be super in tune with it or might not want to engage with it so that they have a better understanding of what you mean. And I think it's important for us in the hockey analytics community to be able to do that without coming across as arrogant or egotistical. And again, I'm not saying that this is what happens, but I have seen it happen a lot, especially on social media, and it turns a lot of people off. But honestly, this is just a different video. This is kind of just me rambling about analytics and kind of my educational background. But I wanted you guys to kind of have a better understanding of why I like hockey analytics, why I think they're important. And if anyone ever has any questions on this channel, I want you to ask, and I want to be able to engage with you because I will engage with you in good faith when it comes to hockey analytics. It's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I think is very important. And at the same time, it's something that shouldn't only be used when evaluating players. You still need the old school eye test. You need someone that actually watches the players, because at the end of the day, the numbers and the analytics, they can't be put into the computer without someone watching. And then, of course, we all have our own personal biases towards certain players or player types. I know the analytics community generally dislikes the hitting stat. They don't think hits lead to anything positive. The belief is that if you are hitting your opponent more than they are hitting you, that means you don't have the puck as often, and you are forced to hit your opponent to try and get the puck back. That's, again, just another example where, you have other people that look at a hitting stat and go, oh, well, they're physical. They are exerting their physical presence on a team, and they are wearing them down physically, and that kind of the game within the game, right? But again, this is kind of a rambly video. There isn't a whole lot of structure to it, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of extra insight. And for those who watch my videos, and if you're not super understanding of the numbers that I put up on screen, or if there's things that you want to know more about, just totally let me know in the comments section. I'd be happy to answer anything you'd like. And yeah, if you like today's video and you want to learn more about my history, my background, kind of why I am the way I am, hit that like button. And if you really liked it, make sure you hit subscribe. Hit the little bell so that you're always notified of videos, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.